Welcome back to the Radio Horror Show tonight. And if you're listening to this on WCUW 91.3 FM, hope you enjoy mine and Katie's review of the new Fear Street movie, the fourth Fear Street film, and the first one actually based on a novel by R.L. Stein. I thought they did an incredible job with the poster where she's looking behind her at the skull face of her. But this was not one of the novels in the Fear Street saga that I ever actually purchased. But this is tied into the other films as the high school in this time is the one in the future, and of course they mention events from the I think it's 19 Fear Street 1979.
8.
1978. So the 1978 film is in continuity with this, and obviously probably the one in the distance past because this is the town of Fear Street. And we reviewed the first three Netflix films when they came out, I believe, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
21?
2 or 3 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. It took a long time to make this movie, not counting obviously the writer's strike that happened in 23, but it definitely felt like it took a while for them to make this movie. And we are of different opinions of this film. I thought it was all right, throwback old school slasher, but with a very convoluted amount of plot lines involving who the killer is. Um, but kind of fun to see American Pie's Chris Klein in the film. That was like, hey, look, callbacks to 80 to teen soap opera films of our days long ago. I love it when they do that with the parents. They're the old heartthrobs that we grew up with in films like American Pie. But Katie, what did you think of Fear Street Prom Queen based on the R.L. Stein novel?
So, Fear Street Prom Queen, directed by Matt Palmer and written by Matt Palmer, David McLeary, and others, starring India Fowler, Susanna Son, Finna Straza, Catherine Watterson, and Lily Taylor, as long as and many others. I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm going to talk about spoilers of why I did not like this film. Quick recap, the film starts out with uh, Lori Granger, who is kind of the uh, loser girl from high school. I wouldn't really say that, but people treat her like that. The family story is that her mom killed her dad, because her dad dumped her and her mom was pregnant, but her mom got away with the crime. So the family's been cursed and living with this all along. One, um, it sounds like her mom was never arrested. And if her mom did do it, then that's crappy police work. So I feel bad for Lori that she's had to have this, like, albatross around her neck this entire time. Also, weird that her mom would never have moved because this is going on, but that's here nor there. But Lori is basically picked on daily from this girl named Tiffany Falconer and her little wolf pack. Of minions. It is very obvious that Tiffany hates Lori for some reason, which, I mean, I don't know. She's got this ginormous house that happens to be across the street from Lori. Again, why? And also, her dad is a teacher, so why is he making this much money in this town? Again, answers we will never find out, kids. But Lori does have one friend who is Megan Rogers, played by Susanna Sohn. There's a scene in the film where she does a little Rob Bottin kind of FX stuff where she's like sick and tired of people uh, picking on Lori. So she just does this whole thing where she like pretends to cut off her arm. Mind you, the teacher, who we then find out is Tiffany's dad, totally allows the entire class to bully Lori and all this stuff. Doesn't say a thing, it's all in good fun. But then when Megan acts like she's cutting off her arm and there's blood, then he's like, go to the fucking principal. Gotta love the 80s. Gotta love the 80s, kids. Well, it is prom night. That's going to be within 24 to 48 hours. And unlike any prom I've ever heard in my entire life, people just nominate themselves to be prom queen. Didn't think that's how it goes. I will say great job with, oh, I thought those were the book covers. I'm like, great job with the book covers, like, completely nailing the dresses and all that stuff. But apparently Lori has nominated herself to be prom queen. Good for her, why not? There's
Her mom
also
was, right?
what?
Her mom was.
Yeah, well, her mom was nominated to be prom queen, but they never had prom because of Lori's dad's death. So there's that. And then Ariana Greenblatt, who plays Christy Renault, who's the bad girl, does drugs, is dating like a guy in his like 20s or 30s. She's nominated herself to be prom queen. And then the Wolf Pack, who is Tiffany and her four little minions. So again, it's kind of odd that people actually nominate themselves because that's usually you have to be nominated to do that. But whatever. But one by one, the prom queen candidates start to meet their demise. And it's very interesting how they have the first one because it's very Scream like, especially with the biggest name of the cast of these potential prom queen candidates. That one is the one that goes first. Tiffany's relentless like hatred towards Lori though is just from the moment we start the film is just like, dude, what is your deal with this chick? Like, she's got nothing on you. Like, just leave her alone. But I mean, she's like, you better watch yourself, Granger. It's like, if you know what's good for you. It's like, I'm not kidding. It's like, I guess you're not kidding. Like, I mean, you just, it's just the overemphasizing of the bitchiness here. It's just really like, can we just simmer down? And lots of people get killed. Lots of people have appendages just cut off. There are some people who are just genuine Tiffanites who aren't with the wolf pack, who just love her so much. And throughout the film, as Chris said, there's all this like, okay, is this the killer? Is this the killer? Is this the killer? Is this the killer? There's at least six to seven misdirects in who the killer is. I remember watching this first time and thinking like, oh, it's going to be that person. And I was right. So if you did not think that the person who ends up being the killer is the killer, I'm sorry, because that seemed pretty obvious to me. But it's also, the fact that there's all this animosity towards, Lori and just how she was conceived and all this that, this girl was hated before she was even born. And I feel really sorry for her. I also feel sorry for the fact that her mom doesn't have a bigger part in the film. I feel like that would have been a little bit
Oh yeah,
uh
she's like gone.
yeah, well, and I thought she was part of the police, but I guess she's like security for something. And then she's in one other scene, and then we never see her ever again.
She must be a
Um,
high end security guard to live in a house. Let's just say that. Even in
well, I mean,
1980s.
it's like it's a very small house compared to what a teacher makes in the town, which, and I'm guessing that his wife isn't working because she doesn't seem, she's, I mean, I don't know. It's very odd to me.
Oh yeah, that
I
her his the yeah, the teacher's house was huge.
huge
That's like
house next,
Macaulay Culkin. That's like
yeah,
Macaulay Culkin's house in
next to
1990.
these like teeny tiny little row houses right across the street, and you've got this giant yard, and it's like, how is this happening? Because it doesn't seem like the mom has a job, and we all know teachers don't make that much, not even in 1988. So obviously some family money or something. But it's also the
Something.
fact that there's this like underlying, like, your mom was trash and she was a whore who got pregnant with you and all this stuff. But the women who are, if you think about it in the film, there are different women who all have kids the same age. Hence, they all had kids at the same time. So they too would have had teenage pregnancies because they all talk about how they went to school with Lori's mom. these women, if they're supposed to be 38 years old, 36, I mean, they've got to be under 40 because they're still supposed to be in high school when they, because their kids are the same age. So they're like 17, 18. So if they had kids when they are 17, 18, technically, I think the oldest they would be is like 36. Yikes. But whatever. The one thing I just felt it was like kind of all over the place. And I will say the one grand item in this film that makes it completely different than any other movie that I've ever seen, especially in horror, is it has the absolute worst dance off that I mean, it's
Oh,
almost like they told them to, you know what, just dance really badly, and then we're going to see who makes it to the end. It
oh, that
was
was
so
oh.
pathetic. The
It's
fact that, I mean,
the best '80s dance off is in Once Bitten.
oh, of course it is. I mean, it is. But this is like, I don't, it's to the, and
It
it's
was
plus it's to an iconic song, Gloria, which is amazing. But I don't know if that's what they were actually dancing to because nothing about either of those women dancing made me think, yeah, in the 80s, that's how I danced to Gloria, or that's how anyone danced to
Do you think they
Gloria.
were dancing to a different song and they had to change it for rights?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like whatever the budget was for this movie, it had to have gone to the rights to a number of those songs. And
Right.
Gloria still
Like
is a pretty popular song. But
I was thinking it was like that. I was thinking it was like that Friday the 13th thing with the final chapter with Crispin Glover. He's dancing to another song
yeah,
versus the one that's in the movie because they couldn't get rights to Back in Black.
yeah. So I don't know. It's very bad. So here are the spoilers up until that. Um yeah, as I said, I figured out that it who the killers were. I thought that was pretty obvious because why have these two characters in the film? So spoiler, it is Tiffany's parents and possibly even Tiffany, I think. But yeah, the fact that Chris Klein and Catherine Waterston, two of the probably most significant people in the film that people, are recognizable, they are the ones that end up being the killers. One of the things
Mm.
that I was wondering though is that when Lily Taylor, who has also been in some prolific teenage films like Say Anything, she plays the vice principal. She also has a child that is the age as Lori and Tiffany. And she also says that, she knew Lori's mom in high school. Here's my thing. What if Lori's dad, because the reason why we find out that everyone hates Lori, or at least that Tiffany's mom hates Lori, I don't know necessarily why Tiffany's dad, because it seems like why would he care? Um, is that Tiffany's mom used to date Lori's dad, but then he dumped her for Lori's mom. So my thing is that are Tiffany and Lori actually sisters? Because that would have mean that Tiffany's mom had been doing it with Tiffany's dad while she was also seeing Lori's dad. But then also, when you have the vice principal having a kid the same age, and she says she knew Lori's mom in high school, would this have been a twist? And like, hey, Lori's dad is also the father of the vice principal's son? Because it seems like she doesn't have a significant other and he's there, which also it's very weird how he's there and we don't really know anything about him. I'm like, but these are all things that it's like, were these like subplots that you were like possibly trying to maybe say could be to like get us off the, you know, kind of make us think, oh, is this why they're the killer and all that stuff? I don't know. I will say that the killer's outfits, that was very cool. I liked how they looked. I liked how they just had like random butcher knives all over the place. again, crappy police work when they find out who did it. It's like, yeah, you know what? Let's just take you home. You're not going to look at the home. You're not going to investigate the home. You're not going to do any of that, considering, nope, just cops, you just listen to this person whose significant other just butchered like 8 people. And, oh, well, you can't be a part of it because you're a woman. It's 1980s. What? How could that happen? Um, I don't know. I liked it a little bit more the second part, but second time, but the acting really isn't great. I do like the special effects. I do like the music. I wish there was a little bit more 80s music. I think the dancing was atrocious again. And it just seems weird that they sort of just threw this in without major tie. I mean, they do mention the night. It's like one of the cops says like this is almost as bad as like the 19 set or worse than the 1978 thing that happened. And then there's a couple things where you see like in reference to the witch in 1666, like a little reference in the women's stall, and then vaguely, you really have to pay attention to it at the end of the film, when someone's blood is being let out and their eyes are black. All the blood makes like a devil symbol of the witch Sarah Fear or Sarah Friar from 1666. I don't know. I wanted to like this a lot more. I just didn't. I'm not familiar with the books, so that could be a reason why. But I feel like
Do
this
have
was,
more information about the books. The
yeah,
book, yeah. Simone is the killer in the original. It's just one killer. Simone is the counterpart to Tiffany.
okay,
The victims know about the killer in the R.L. Stein book as well. The backstory for the character in the movie is bumped up. Like she doesn't. She's just a girl. There's no like, oh, let's have a convoluted backstory with your mom killed your dad, and this everyone thinks you're a killer too one day. What? Like, just let's tease her. Let's just create drama for a movie because we have to pad out an hour and a half on Netflix.
yeah,
Um,
and it's also it seems like I don't. It's if Tiffany had just been bullying her because she was poor, but it seems like it's like, well, let's justify it that she's bullying her because her mom was accused of killing her dad, but then never never arrested. So that means she's a killer too. It's like, you know what? The bullying still is bullying. That still makes her the sea bag. It's like, and well done. I will have to say, well done for the actress who is playing Tiffany. She really did. Fina Straza really does play that bitch with a capital B very, very well. Possibly too well because it is at a point when she asked Lori to like come home with her after all the stuff. It's one of those things that it's like, no, I don't think so. I think Lori is a good person, but I really don't think that she would have done that. I feel like that's kind of a stretch for someone to do when you're, you've got 13 years of your schooling. This person has just been a complete monster to you. And then you find out that your relative is killing people. And it's like, would you come home with me? I think that's even more of a red flag. Stay away. Uh, I don't know. Of all the Fear Street films, I like this the least. Again, I do like the outfit of the killer. I think that's good. I think the misdirects were just too much. Again, there were like 7 that didn't really go anywhere. And I think it would have been interesting to find out that, yeah, Lori's dad actually fathered all these different kids and they're all brothers and sisters.
The a couple of weird things that are in the book. This is from ScreenRant.com. They broke it down. Is the first girl killed in the book in the opening chapter has nothing to do with anyone else in the film. It's kind of like a test kill for the killer. It just happens. And or they believe that it's a possibly not related to the rest of it. It's not written really well. The killer in the book has different motivations than the way it's done here with the three killers. And again, there's just the one killer. And in fact, when her parents find out that she's doing it or whatever, they're aghast and shocked. And oh my God, our daughter's a murderer. Not as many people killed in the book. It's like a couple people. That's it. They didn't bloodbath. Star R.L. Stein did not like just create an entire bloodbath. The killer also fakes her own kidnapping to throw the scent off that could possibly be her. So she's kind of missing from the plot for most of the film. Um, Most of the people die in Prom Queen in the prom, whereas they die outside of the prom. And it's actually like weeks leading up to prom, which is like the last chapter of the book. So it's the preparation and everything.
So it's
The
kind
killer's
of like
lair is not in the high school either.
so it's kind of like prom night with Jamie
Yeah.
Lee Curtis, where people are leading up to the prom, they're dying. It's like, oh, they're just running late. Oh, they had car trouble or something like that. Because almost every single person in this one, well, I think everyone in this one, except for Christy, dies at the prom. And then
Yes.
what ended up happens to Tiffany and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just feel like
They
to
also
me it's one of those things. It's like I have a strong relationship with my mother. I feel like my mom being ain't so angry that someone uh like refuted her advances or her relationship, and then went on to have me with somebody else, but they're so angry that they ended up killing that person, and then they're now going to try and kill that offspring. I'd be like, dude, you do realize that if he hadn't dumped you, or if he hadn't dumped you, that you and dad wouldn't have gotten together and I never would have been made. You do realize that, right? Because now you're saying that, is my life not worth anything? It seems like Tiffany's like, yeah, let's just kill her. It's very Pamela Voorhees, like, kill her, mommy. Let's just do all this. And I'm like, the motivation is very weird. I understand that it's like they want her to be prom queen, and that's fine. But the whole thing that it's like, I'm killing these people and I'm going to kill you because, you're trash. And, your mom stole your dad from me. It's like, hold on, what? Why did her husband and her daughter go along with this? Like, it just seems like a really weird plot line.
the entire overly the overcomplication of multiple killers just ruins the movie for me. It felt like it was going fine until we finally find out who the killer is, and it would just feel like the screenwriters couldn't land on who they wanted to be the killer, so they decided to do all the endings. Kind of like a lot of slasher movies and horror movies, they don't know how to land the ending sometimes, and they just do everything. It's like pick one and don't do them all. And that's a producer decision, and they obviously didn't want to do that. So it just felt like this took 3 years to get going after the first three films were successful, and this is what they did. Out of all the hundreds of Fear Street novels that R.L. Stein has written, why I landed on this one, I have no idea. I haven't seen a lot of R.L. Stein interviews about it, but there'll probably be more of these Fear Street movies. I don't think they're coming out 1 month after the other like we did the last few. The last few came out like a week after another, or it was 1 month after the other. So we'll
It's
see what
perfect
happens with more
timing
Fear
with
Street
all the
novels.
proms going on. So good for that. Good for you, Netflix, for making sure you did that correctly.
Yeah, there's definitely some summertime Fear Street movies they can do. There's some Christmas ones they've done as well. My Best Friend is one that's a favorite of mine. I really hope they would do one day. I think they have announced other novels. I just haven't done enough research to find out what those other novels are going to be in the Fear Street universe. So we'll have to wait and see. And they're all going to be connected in one way or another, and probably have actors coming back to play characters that they lived to, oh, I had this horrible prom experience and now I'm alive still in the town. Even though, by the way, most of the Fear Street novels are kind of independent of each other. You don't need to have read the previous novel unless it's part two of that story. Like Goodnight Kiss is a vampire story set in the Fear Street universe, but not on Fear Street. They just happen to mention, oh yeah, I live on Fear Street, by the way. Oh, well, that sucks. But you're here at the beach, so vampire hijinks will ensue here. So it's kind of like that. Katie, where can people find you these days?
They can find me at the Blonde in Front on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I'm also a co-panelist on different vlogcasts and podcasts, which I put on all my social medias.
Cool. And you can find me on Radio of Horror on Sunday nights, where this will broadcast, as well as on the YouTube channel. And go to, oh, what are we covering in horror on anything on my other shows? Go to the Dead TV podcast, as we're starting our coverage of Blade, and to coincide with the Vampire Movie Minute podcast, where we're covering the Blade movie. So we're covering the Blade movie and the Blade TV series at the same time. So you get your Sticky Smith Jones and your Wesley Snipes, the two actors who have played Blade. So Wesley Snipes was wrong in that one movie where he says there'll only be one Blade. Well, there was another one. But I digress. Check out the rest of the reviews we've done here on the Radio Hard YouTube channel, and the rest of the ones coming out through the summer, as we're going to come back to the slasher genre in July with I Know What You Did Last Summer, part 4, 3, whatever.